Greetings, everyone. Morning. Afternoon. Monday afternoon. God. Welcome to Records of Evil. It is a lawful evil D&D game set in modern Faerun. We've been playing for a bit here. If you're joining us just today, our cast of characters here has been going on our evil quest and have led themselves to the amazing fantasy land of Os, which, to compare to anything, is effectively fantasy Australia. So think about Australia, except they're bigger, more poisonous, and more insane. The usual kind of thing.
Like my diet
basically just Australia.
Yeah, like the platypus that we're stuck with now.
Stuck with? You're so mean to my platypus. I gotta name it, actually, to be honest. I'll come up with the name. Don't worry.
If you name it, it will only be sadder when it dies.
You're not allowed to kill it.
or turns into a real boy.
It's gonna be so sad. You're gonna wreck on it again.
I do not
You're
think
gonna
it's
take
gonna
it
turn into
away
a real
from
boy.
me.
No, that one, I unless you do something to get it killed, I'm not doing nothing with that. The platypus is not intelligent. The flump was intelligence. You wanted something that was an intelligent creature. It was gonna have some kind of weird attitude.
It's gonna have a weird attitude. It's fine. This one's gonna stay with us forever.
This one has an intelligence of good old 2, I believe, which is like animal intelligence. So,
Hell yeah.
So okay, so the normal one's like, "Rawr," so it's like, because it's tiny.
It's my child.
Protect the child.
Protect the child until freaking
Till the sword tells
Dox.
you to kill
Exactly. I was gonna say until Dox kills Misha and the baby. And he's just gonna agree because it's like, yeah, one last way of getting this around.
Yeah, so last time, if you missed the adventures, and I can't believe I'm participating in the weirdness in chat. Look, I've got all these gift subs. I'm gonna use them for like.
I'm sad all my fun ones ran out.
Well, there's a couple of them I actually do sub to, like Tesh, but that's besides the point. What was I gonna say? Our group made it to a city in Os, one of the ones within the Wagala Plains, Levith Rotho, which they've effectively participated in your version of fantasy anime / Comic-Con. And it was wonderful.
It was a time.
Pretty good.
It was a time. You saw nerds, and lo
I
and
got
behold,
plushies of the platypus, so me and my baby platypus have one.
yes.
Doc got legally not Warhammer.
Doc, legally not Warhammer.
Legally not Warhammer.
I forgot that's the way to describe it. Legally not Warhammer. Yep. So it was a good time, had by all.
I think it's actually more appropriate to say legally distinct from Warhammer.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's why, you know, if you ever find one, it'll be a psionic spirit blade, not that other device that's used by perhaps space wizards. It's the psionic spirit blade.
Exactly. Disney can't sue us now.
They're not the only one that have with light-based blades that zoom out and make a legally distinct noise. Anyway, you made it to the town you were aiming to get to, Ulatara. Once there, you had to deal with, there was a dust storm going on. You made it through the dust storm. You're making decisions on things that you would need in order to cross the desert. One thing is souping up your car. That's protected against dust and stuff, because it is a very dusty wasteland. And looking for a guide. I think we had it that you found where you could go to get your vehicle souped up. And that's kind of where we left off. You hadn't found a guide yet, and I honestly, if you had other plans for getting ready for the wasteland, I don't remember them. I think we went over what's in the wasteland, awful things,
Terrible monsters.
Yeah, subterranean creatures, giant worm monsters, a couple of plants, and then giant monsters that feed on magical energy that comes out of the good old center of that place, the veins of the world, where it's a giant, like, wound in the ley lines of the universe. Naturally. So yeah, fun times. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's where we're kind of at. What is your plans? I guess getting your car fixed up. I assume you are waiting until after. Are you going to try to do this during the dust storm? Are you waiting until after the dust storm? You know, are you just going to chill in the hotel?
I mean, we're trying to find a guide, and then we'll take their suggestion, I think.
Because, I mean, like, right now, the dust storm is...
I mean, if I find a guide who's willing to just take us through the storm, then sure.
Yeah. So dust storm is ongoing. It's just beginning today. You do have to get your vehicle souped up. You haven't done that. You'd have to find a shop and get it there, you know, before it would clog up the intake. Actually, no, you do have a little time, because the dust storm's supposed to be starting a little later. You were warned. That's right.
Yeah.
So you could get it to a mechanic's shop if you found one. Or you could find one pretty easily that could probably do work on it. If we want to say you get that taken care of, it'll take a couple of days to get that fixed up. Especially with the dust storm, there's a lot of like a business of, you know, people who don't have good vehicles that maybe go out and things like that. So the mechanic was like, it'll take me a couple of days to get this worked up. Storm might be still going when you can pick it up, but up to you if you want to pick it up then or wait till after everything's done. The vehicle should run during that time. I'll get the intake all protected and such. It also requires a little bit of work on the engine block, more than just the intake, because there's other areas that can get a little clogged up with dust that can interfere with things. Stuff like the electrical systems, there's some exposed parts that the dust just knows how to get into it, if you're not careful.
Yeah. Okay, that's something to sort out. So Docs has not left his hotel room after his mental breakdown.
Okay.
He's gonna lock the door and talk to the sword for a moment. What the fuck was this sword's name? I've actually forgotten.
Give me a second and I will give you it too.
Swordy.
Swordy
It's like a Pokemon. I'll just name it something stupid.
Swordy, I choose you.
Potential ancient being of ultimate power.
Velakar the Heart Ripper. Velakar the Heart Ripper.
Okay. How would Docs address this? He's gonna kind of just sit down with it, like sit it in front of him. Kind of just like, I guess, close his eyes to see if maybe he can get like a visual representation of this thing. Creature, speak to me.
As you're kind of trying to, like, I guess, instill yourself into the sword, you almost do get this visual representation of this kind of, like, black cloud within the inky darkness of, like, your mind, almost, with just this pair of, like, red eyes.
I think it's time we had this conversation. What is it you want?
It's time. You have sensed me and chosen me to be your guide. Nethra must rise again. The gods must fall. They are weak. I have been waiting for this day. I could give you a fraction of my soul. The fraction within this blade.
What would that gain me?
The power of death.
Do you know what I want most? Since you're sitting there in my mind, watching everything.
I have touched it. I have sensed it. But you must be willing to give yourself completely. It's more than for me to say.
Dox is gonna think about someone very important for a moment to him. Alright. For them, I'll do it.
Excellent. And perhaps the end shall be soon for the blasted ones. All right.
Pact made.
Yeah. Excellent. We'll worry about that a little later.
Yep, we'll deal
Yeah,
with the
that sounds
consequences
bad.
of that horrible mess later.
Uh-huh.
Sounds bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
It just requires one platypus soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Don't touch my platypus, please.
Uh-huh.
Don't touch it, please.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, everybody else will come back.
Oh, we're getting the car fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully it doesn't cost too much.
It was affordable, we'll say. Ugh. Sorry.
How long is the car gonna take?
A couple days.
Okay.
Are you alright?
I'm fine.
Very well.
Well, what's your next plan then?
Find someone who can take us through the storm. Well, probably a waste druid or whatever.
The unfortunate thing is you're probably gonna not have a lot of luck finding something necessarily online in this case. This is not something that's really
Oh, I wasn't expecting to in this case.
advertised.
There's no, like, site to rent a druid in this world?
I mean, there's probably places to like rent druids and
Rent a
stuff.
druid.
Or like
But probably not a wasteland druid in this very specific part of the world.
Yeah.
Uber but for druids.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately.
rent a druid service.
That's I could, you know, if Dox was smart, he could make that idea, but he's not smart.
Hmm.
Hmm. That's what I'm looking up. Well, you could try definitely going to various like seedy locations, bars, hangouts. You could try getting in contact with the local group of druids. Again, it's a very spiritual country, so there actually is a huge amount of druids within Oz. So there's probably places to get in contact with them.
I mean, like, I probably would have even just asked the, actually the car guy. So if we wanted to get someone to help us traverse the wastes, where would we go?
The wastes. Only the crazed go out there. But I'm not one to judge. Probably find someone crazy enough to go out there at some of the local drinking establishments over by the border. south of the town. Or you could head to the Druid Circle. It's a bit to the east of here. See if there's someone willing to get you from there. I don't know if they'd be willing to take outsiders out. That's beyond my knowledge.
Well, you said east of here. Okay. Outside of town or in town?
Aye, just a little outside of town.
Very well.
Alright. You've got two kind of directions to go with.
Has the storm kicked up yet?
There's definitely a wind in the air, like much more than it was, and there's kind of like dust kind of blowing around with it. So it's probably just picking up right now.
If we're gonna do any traveling, Dox is gonna take it upon himself to kind of get more sandstorm appropriate gear than what he's currently wearing. So probably some goggles and like a head scarf.
Okay.
Just basic
Yeah, it's
things
probably
like
smart.
that.
Hmm. Okay.
To be fair, you really can see dust storms coming,
Yes. So there's probably
especially
like,
big ones.
in the direction of it is just dark clouds on the horizon. Yeah.
Yep.
Yikes.
They're big.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
So you have two directions. Which one are you going to?
well, how far outside of town? I'll ask that character. How far outside of town?
A few miles. So the few miles to the east is the Druid Circle, or you could try to the bars in the south of town near the border.
Feel like
See
check
if we can.
Druid Circle
And
would
they-
make more sense then.
Oh, the Druid Circle would make more sense, but getting there and back in the middle of a dust storm
Yeah.
is not a great idea. Especially since we don't have a car to drive a couple miles
True.
and back before, like. So, I'm thinking we go to the bar
Mm-hmm.
and ask them if they can take us to the Druid Circle in the middle of a dust storm.
I mean,
Uh,
if you pay them
that might
enough,
work.
sure.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well,
I will go with, I guess, Ursel to the bar.
I mean, yeah. I'll go. I'm also going.
all right. So you'll head to the south part of town, and by the time you're getting towards the south part of town, even though again, like it's not a huge town necessarily, it's big enough that the dust storm has begun. So it will blanket you. It'll be high winds that make it very difficult to travel. Probably gusts up to like 50 miles per hour, if not more. And just like it's just a fine dust that just goes over everything. If you want to travel out there and actually see what you're doing, do you people have like goggles, face masks, like what do
Doc
you have?
spots him
I'd-
for himself.
Yeah.
I would have.
We should have also bought.
bought some as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just feel it like clinging onto you as it's blowing pretty much against you because you're heading in the direction that the wind is coming from.
Oh, jeez.
This is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
It'll take you probably at least 3 times as long to get to the area, but you'll see a couple of like you'll stumble across what looks to be maybe like kind of like a rough and tumble, almost I'd say akin to like a biker bar, though there's no bikes out front. just maybe a couple of jeeps, which are kind of like rocking in the wind. But you'll see that the jeeps are actually like have hooks that are anchored down to like stuff at the like outside the bar. Like, so they're like, and they seem to be anchored in the direction of the wind almost, as if they're ready to like, you know, stick with the wind if something picks up and tries to blow the vehicle. There are large shutters on the windows, like everything seems closed up, though you can swear you maybe hear music from the inside, especially those of you with really great passive perceptions, which I'm pretty sure is Mishka at very least. And I can't remember either of you, but I know Mishka has really good perception.
I'm pretty sure mine's pretty good because I have a 17 passive perception.
Mine's 13. I don't hear shit.
No, so
Yep, mine's 13.
Wait, mine's the highest then. I'm
Oh, so
17.
Vercel's the highest. So Vercel definitely hears it then. Yeah. I couldn't remember which of you had the high passive perception. I forgot.
Yeah, Vercel has it, but she always ends up getting caught in traps anyway.
Because
So.
I have great perception, but my rolls.
You have a
not.
lot of great things,
Mm-hmm.
but your rolls never back them up.
No.
Points out trap. Avoid that. Gets caught in trap.
Uh-huh. The doors you can see kind of like are closed up, and there's like what looks to be like a latching mechanism that kind of like you can click open from either side, and then kind of close the doors up using it when you get inside. So otherwise, you know, things are just loud and windy. And all of you feel like you're covered in a nice layer of dust.
Ooh,
If you just got like any kind of normal clothes in, dust is everywhere. Like pockets filled with dust.
Hate it.
Shoes filled with dust.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Dust everywhere.
It's coarse, it's rough, and it gets everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The worst.
Mm-hmm. Though for some reason, you feel as though your scales that have been exposed to it feel extra shiny. Mm-hmm.
Vercel's having a great time.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna stand outside, or you're gonna head inside?
Well, I think that's because...
Going inside.
Well, you're very comfortable.
Like
I'm
you're
going
like
inside.
yelling to each other too, like over like the wind, and like, should we go inside?
I mean, she's just making her way in. She
Yeah,
she
I'm
does
just
not
gonna-
want to stay out here.
Kind of like click open the door. It's a little
miserable.
tough. You manage to get it open as you kind of all push inside and close up the door behind you. As like you can see like just dust kind of like piles in through the door as soon as you open it just a little bit. As you do notice, like everybody in the bar kind of goes towards you, and there's kind of like this loud folksy music going on in an old jukebox that has kind of like a crack across it. There seems to be at least a dozen people in here. Most of them are up at the bar, sitting around it drinking tall glasses of what appear to be like, just general beer or similar kinds of alcohol. There seems to be a group in the back kind of playing a card game. And then kind of gruffled barkeep in the back who looks kind of unusual. He's kind of got like these kind of like pointed ears, kind of like this weird kind of like muddled pale greenish skin, kind of like big fangs. So he would almost remind you like maybe a little orcish, but not quite. Maybe like not orc, but something else that he might be
Almost
like.
as if he was half orc. No.
No, not even half orc.
I know. Just the way you said that
Yeah.
made me...
Kind of pointed nose, pointed chin a little bit too. What do I get for you out in the storm like this? Come, sit down. Got some spaces at the bar? We'll take a table if you want, travelers.
Doc's gonna get
Yes.
the bar.
I will as well.
Okay.
Yep.
He'll
I'll
just
take.
get beers out for all of you, kind of thing, you know? Like
I'll
mugs of
basically
beer.
say like, I'll take some. What's unique to this area?
He'll just keep getting you out of beer.
Understood.
Works for me.
What brings you out in the dust?
Well, we are traveling through the area. Yes.
Well, kind of insane to travel during this stuff.
Is why we'll probably be here a couple days.
Bar?
Well,
I
the
close
town.
up. Well, if you're desperate for a drink, welcome. But I would have stayed inside the house. These nuts, they practically live out of this place, or are desperate for a drink. You know I'm not that bad. Just 'cause I got this to do right now and I'm just gonna drink this down, don't worry about me. Quiet you.
We were,
Oh, so we got a bunch of lovely ladies and, not. What you got to drink? You got some good stuff? Hey, tabs on me. Thurn. Tabs on me, Thurn. Don't let him bother you. It's like that with everybody who visits.
lightning just kill this man.
Yeah. The sword must be used eventually.
He's just nodding slowly, like, okay, this is not where she belongs.
But, well, we were hoping to find someone who could take us into the wastes after the storm lifts.
Well, you came to the right place to look for folks like that. Most of these folks are wastelanders.
We were thinking of going to the druids, but the storm kicked up before we could get to them.
Ha! Another one at the end bar. Oh, druids wouldn't take you out to the waste. They don't take anybody out there. They take their own kind. All you druids, spellcasters.
I'm a druid. Yeah.
So one of you? Well, then you could probably get them to take you out there. The rest of you, if you ain't, you're shit out of luck.
We were hoping that we could work something out.
I don't know if anybody's crazy enough to take you out in a dust storm like this. If you wait till after the storm, probably most of
Yes,
us
of
would be
course.
willing to take you for the right price.
Well,
Now. They're gonna want our best man for that job. There's one man who'll take you out to anywhere in the wastes. The rest of these blokes, yeah, they take you out there. But there's crazy shit out there. Stuff that'll tear you apart. Most of them would abandon you at the drop of a hat. No offense, but you all know it's true. No. You need a man of honor.
and who would this man of honor be?
The Worm Hunter.
And where might we find a worm hunter?
He's out in the storms right now, probably hunting a worm. Should be back in a couple of days. I tell you, when he shows up, he'll bring back a mighty trophy. He's an insane man. He learned his ways from the druids, practices some of their abilities. wasn't quite for his calling. He learned some of the ancestral Osean magics. Uses it to hunt the worms, live amongst them, travels the wastes. It's said that he even has ways of camping on top of one of those giant beasts, finding little cramps in their scales or bones or furs where he can set up tents, travel with them for days.
Sounds convenient. What would he want?
Well, probably a good paycheck. But beyond that, no one knows what he'd ask for. He does take people out there occasionally. Science types, a few news types. But when he shows up, you know, in for a great tale. Something crazy happening.
Well, will he end up at this establishment?
Aye, always comes back to here. We're the closest to the edge of the wastes. Lucky you found us.
Well, perhaps you'll see us back in a couple days.
Aye, I'd stop by. Perhaps even stop by before the storm ends. You never know what he come dragging in.
Well, coming by during this, well, I guess you at least have a couple extra patrons while this storm is going on.
Sounds great. Another round for you?
Yes, please.
Alright, you'll serve some more rounds. What is your overall plan then? Head out and come back later?
Yeah, I guess just check back every day just to kind of see the happenings and waiting for this guy to show up.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright, then a few days will pass. And eventually, though, you will, of course, get there during one of the, last days of the storm. So it feels like the storm, is passing a little bit. The older gentleman who was kind of telling you about him will be giving off some tales and stuff, you know, kind of regaling you with stories of this man who goes by the nickname Sandwurm Ordulin. Sandwurm Ordulin. Call him that because he said he comes from Ordulin. On sandworms.
Get on the news.
Creative name.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
People in this country are real creative.
I'm gonna say this here. I did a reference for a reason. Thank you very much. And I have any of you.
Beautiful. I love him.
I don't know if any of you picked up on why I did that, but yeah. So all of a sudden, then
I think I missed something.
the doors will kind of swing open, and a man dressed in kind of what looks to be probably gear specifically made for the area out there. Except you can see the outside of his outfit is made of some kind of the carapace of some kind of creature with kind of spines on it and stuff. That kind of makes this kind of outer outfit that you can see the sand kind of quickly fall over from it, he just brushes it off, the dust, as he closes the door. Spike of the devil now. As he kind of saunters up to the bar, kind of sits down what looks to be like some kind of interesting looking firearm, kind of rifle or something, with all kinds of like stuff attached to it, and what looks to be like a weird kind of like crystal at the end, this purple crystal. He's like, and kind of like take off like a kind of like what kind of gas mask type thing, or like a mask, like probably for the storm, kind of like put it up on his head and be like, round of drinks for my friends. How's everybody doing? Oi, Nick! We got some people here for you. What are you talking about? I'll go by Sandwurm Ordulin. Friends call me Nick. Don't know if you're my friends, Nick. What can I do for you?
Well, we're looking for someone who might be willing to take us into the wastes.
Wastes are a dangerous place. Not many people live out there.
What I hear, it's you and the druids.
Plenty of people wander the wastes looking for stuff. Look, if you want to go out there, I could take you out there. Wherever you need to go. But it's a dangerous place. And unless you're ready for it, you probably ain't lasting very long. Got any combat skills? Any kind of training?
You could say
Fair
that.
bit.
It's good, you're gonna need it. Because honestly speaking, I look at the lot of you and it looks like you're gonna like keel over at the drop of a hat.
Huh. I lived in the deep jungle for most of my life. I know how to handle myself.
Do now? Well, we'll see about that. You have a specific location within the waste you're heading to. 'Cause that makes a difference too.
Yes, the veins of the world.
Veins of the world. Now this is something that you think most people wouldn't ask, but I'm going to ask. What's your business there? Because I just don't take anybody into the wastes. You want to know your business? Why I'm putting my life on the line to look after you. Because I can look after myself just fine out there. Looking after the lot of you puts me in danger. Trying to keep you alive. So
Well,
you don't know what you see. If you see a plant out there, you think, oh, it's just a tree. And then the tree gets up and eats you. I gotta warn you of stuff like that. Or when the worms are hunting, I gotta warn you when to stop, when to hide, how to avoid them. And the great beasts, how not to get stepped on by one of them.
well, our business is actually with the denizens who have taken up residence near there. You may know what I'm talking about if you do travel the wastes often enough.
I do know what you're talking about. Those monsters. That new one. Different than anything else. Hiding out in the wound. Building something. Keeping away from them. Avoiding them is what I've been doing. You want to go straight to them.
He's a problem we have to deal with.
Well, that seems like a wonderful thing. Is it the kind of deal with of, well, that kind of deal with, or just some other kind of deal with? Because that makes a difference too.
Little of both.
I get you.
Whatever the situation needs.
Well, on the latter, I'm probably not going to be helping you out with that at all. I'm going to tell you that now. If it ends up being a little bit of, well, violence, I'd rather not get involved in whatever the issue is. Magic energy in that area would kill most mortals. Hang around with it too long either. It's just oozing out. Any of you got any kind of spellcasting abilities? Yeah?
Quite a bit.
Then that's good. You're gonna need some. If you don't have it, probably screwed going there. The stuff just eats into you. And you find that if you're there for too long, too much energy in your body. Spellcasters, we got an advantage. We can channel it off. Try not to get near the wound too much. Some good prey near there occasionally, but lately, with those new fiends moving in, different.
Yes.
I got some business to take care of. I'll tell you, I'll be ready in 2 days. Pack anything you need. Got a vehicle?
Yes, it should be ready. When is it going to be ready?
It should be ready around now, technically.
Okay. It should be ready today or tomorrow.
Take a look at it. We might be taking yours rather than mine. Honestly speaking, we'll caravan. If we caravan, you're going to stay right behind me, close behind me, and I want at least one of you up with me. Let's say you there. Tiefling. You stick with me.
Okay.
You got, he'll say something in Druidic then. He'll be like, got the semblance of one who's seen the teachings. Am I right?
Yeah.
Excellent. He'll switch back to common and go then. Great. That's settled then. Rest of your lot, you'll be in the back. In your own vehicle, or we'll see if we should carpool together. I should be able to fit all the lot of you, but you might not like the smell. Worms stink a lot. More dead than alive. Surprisingly. The smell they have when they're alive. Right. Be back here. Couple of days. When the storm's passed, we'll be ready. I gotta sell off my quarry. As for price, I'll agree upon this. $1,000 Ocean dollars. That's simple part. And then a stake in any kind of monetary gains you gain along the way. 20%.
Very well.
I'll lead you there. I'll keep you safe and keep you alive. But you also listen to me. I'm in charge. Period.
Understood.
Let me do the talking first, unless I tell you to. There are some folks out there that live out there. None of them are friendly. These lot out here, these are the friendly types. But they aren't going to get near you. They're going to avoid you. We avoid each other. Because we know strength ain't numbers a lot of times out there. You got to plan for something. Right. See you in a couple of days. He's going to get up and go back to the bar and continue to enjoy his drink.
Yeah, after he leaves, he'll be like, smells bad. I doubt he's ever had his... He's been elbow deep in a dead troglodyte. That's a smell.
Mm-hmm. You can see that also, like, he's got, like, when you got close, you could see, like, a necklace of what looks to be, like, these kind of spines, that look to be, maybe, like, tooths? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're pretty big size. And you have to think about, like, a worm with his kind of, like, maw. Those teeth are really small in there, you know, normally, in comparison to the size of it. These were, like, you know, like, 3 to 6 inch teeth that he had, like, a necklace of. So very large worms.
Jeez.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about
I'm
right.
just picturing Dune.
Mhm.
Yeah, Dune worm.
Anyway, why don't we take our first break here? It's a little early, but I would like it at here. As now you've made a deal to go out with effectively the Ocean version of Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful.
Uh-huh. That's why it's Sandwurm Ordulin.
Oh boy.
No one got my joke, and I'm happy about that. Anyway, it was great. It was terrible, but I came up with it. You know.
Heck yeah.
So, everyone, go get your snack, drink, bathroom breaks if you need to take them. We'll be back in a little bit to continue the adventures and heading into the wastes finally now, because you got a guide. It'll be good times, or not good times, depending on how things go. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Alright, back soon. That is the map, and I don't need the map. Hi, everybody, we're back.
Hello.
Greetings. Alright. So a few more days will pass. You'll be able to pick up your vehicle. It'll be ready in time and affordable. What is your plan in the meantime? What else do you want to do to prepare yourselves for traveling into the wastes?
Probably restocking on supplies would be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, maybe actually having rations and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
No, those aren't needed.
I mean, we
Just
have a platypus.
imagine
That's
that we
not
have
gonna-
that.
The platypus isn't going to last long.
Listen, the platypus isn't coming with us. It's gonna be safe somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a
Turn back
pet
on
sitter.
water skin, rations. So take mess kit, bedroll. Rope. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and
Gun.
tinderbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alright. So you all assemble yourselves, get your things together, get some probably like dust-based gear, take your new souped-up vehicle and drive down to the bar. That you've been visiting a lot more when it was much more dusty. Now that, like, you know, things are a lot better, you'll see that, like, you know, the storm has passed, the shutters are open, the doors are wide open with now the music blaring on the outside, you know, the kind of folky country music. There's, like, seemingly, it's a little busier, you know, rather than so, like, not a lot busier, honestly speaking. It seems a lot of the regulars that you kind of got, maybe a little bit got to know of, you know, during that time. But mostly a little quiet. So Sandwurm will drive up in his kind of like souped out vehicle that seems akin, somewhere in between like a armored vehicle and what would be like a Jeep. So it's like a lot more like got like metal plates on the very sides. They don't like, they do have like windows, but they're a lot more like controlled and plated in certain areas, using a lot more like things like side mirrors and stuff. Doesn't look like it has a rear windshield at all. The front windshield is kind of like, it got much more small area to look out of, you know. Looks like everything's just a little bit more tougher in the vehicle. He'll kind of pile out. Looks like he's not in like the full garb he had when he was traveling in the sandstorm before. He's got like kind of like a simple kind of leather vest on. You know, kind of like a loose shirt underneath it. He's still got his like worm tooth necklace. He's just kind of like wearing a hat, which on top of it you still see the mask is kind of on top of the hat now, rather than just on top of his head where he kind of was hooded up before. He's got kind of scruffled, like dirty blonde hair you see that kind of like, you know, everything just looks like it still has a little bit of dust on it. And he's wearing kind of like just simple boots and pants after that. And he's got like his, the strange rifle kind of slung over his shoulder, and at the side like a large blade too. Looks akin more to like a machete or something. And you'll see kind of like all across his back, like a hatchet too then. So he's got like a machete and a hatchet kind of thing.
I'm probably, just to show him I'm capable, I probably got my shield, mace, bow, and gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, she's got her, like, scimitar with her.
Doc just has this spooky looking sword.
Yep.
This-
He'll
oh god.
he'll kind of like
Oh, she's got
all
her
of you
own
ready
armor.
to gather and go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Over
Yes,
here.
I am.
He's gonna like unfurl what looks to be like a very like loose map of the wastes itself, with a lot of like hand-drawn stuff on it and like little notes and stuff written, which look to be more like in a code. So you can't really it's like you can't really understand a lot of like what the like little notes are, because it looks like to be drawn in like some kind of like definite code of something. He's like, all right, so we're here at the edge of the waste, and we're kind of trying to get you to the veins. Now the thing is, track to the veins tends to be a little difficult from here. We're going to want to take this route along here. So for about 2 days' journey, we're going to take it along this old dried riverbed. Unless it rains, it should be pretty safe. Camping in the riverbed should be relatively safe. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set the tents up on the cars. Riverbed's a little harder ground, so we shouldn't have to worry about the worms when we're traveling on it there. Most things tend to either pass over it, pass by it. That's the lucky part of it. That should be the safest part of our journeys. There's a couple of little places we might want to stop along the way for supplies too. We should hopefully have enough water supplies, but here and here are little springs. It's a little along our routes. We probably want to stop at them, keep up our supplies, especially if something goes wrong, vehicles break down and all the lot. Now once we reach here, there's a small area kind of built into like a hill area. There's a number of small hills. These hill areas are old places where people used to use mines and stuff. Now at this point in time, we're actually going to want to leave the vehicles behind. This is a little bit of this is about half a day's journey off the river. Once within there, technically speaking, we're about half a day's drive to the veins. We're not going to want to drive during that period of time. We're going to be within territory that driving is going to attract a lot more dangerous attention than you want. You got to know where these places where to leave vehicles and take vehicles are. Now, if I was just in my vehicle, I might press it. But the thing is, I don't know how those people are going to react that you're going to try to meet with coming up on a vehicle. And it's kind of hard to hide something heading up that direction. That's why I want to hide us a little farther back and go on foot. You get my drift. Because I don't want any negative reactions for some group that's a little bit more violent in nature. So that's the basic plans that we have. On foot.
We are planning to let them know we're coming shortly beforehand.
If you want to send some kind of message to them, I'd do it now and let them know we're coming. Doesn't mean they're going to be friendly when we arrive. That's why I'm cautious. Should take about 2 days on foot to get there from the place where we'll leave the vehicles. It's another reason we're going to stock up at these 2 stops here. One for each night.
We're planning... Well, we figured surprising them would be worse than showing up announced, but also we didn't want to give them too much of a heads up. Why we were thinking a day beforehand. But
that's fine.
If
a day or 2 ahead of time, once we leave the vehicles, if you want to send them a message around then, that's great. Or if you want to wait until we are actually a day away, also that's fine. Again, you're trying to negotiate with them, so it's much more on you to keep the friendliness and not get into the violence. I'm just worried that if we don't say anything, or if we come in a little loud, they might not be very friendly. I don't know how they've been reacting to others.
Well, let's just say we have some weight on them.
whatever. That's great. But this is the route I'm planning on taking you. Get there safely and smart.
Understood.
So, you follow behind me. We're going to head down towards the riverbed. It's going to be a little bit of a drive getting into the waste to get to the riverbed. But it tends to be safer towards these edge areas here. Nothing tends to wander out this much. So it's going to be a few hours before we reach the riverbed. Where we're going, we're going to be leaving the roads behind very quickly. So know that. It's off-road. And have you trained in off-road driving?
No.
Wonderful. Great. So just follow my lead and try your best. And avoid anything that looks large and like it would damage one of your tires.
Got it.
And avoid large rocks, because some of them aren't actually rocks. You don't want to really drive over a Spikeadillo. Those things will not only pierce your tires, but your engine block. Their spines go from about yay high to about 3 feet tall, instantaneously. Kind of like a pufferfish, only on land. Great. Alright, Miss, what was your name?
Ursel.
Oh, well, you're going to be driving that car. I assume the one's traveling with me.
Mishka.
Well, Miss Mishka, get in the side of my vehicle. You three, get in and good luck to you. Alright. So Mishka, yeah, it's kind of like, it seems like it's actually really well built like a tank. And it's got like some systems in here that look like they got a touch of the modern, but they're maybe like just a little old and stuff, you know? There's some area, like, it looks like there's a lot of like stuff in the back. It definitely looks like he lives mostly out of his vehicle.
Yeah.
You know?
You definitely like look around at it, not like touch anything, but just like, just see like what's going on, really.
Yes, and I assume you have now found a place to keep your platypus for the time, so it doesn't have to go into the waste.
Yes.
You'll find like a pet place, and they'll just like give you funny looks at the platypus and be like, "We can handle exotic pets, so it's fine."
Heck yeah. She gives it a couple treats and pats before she leaves.
It horks up like some kind of green glob and like just starts like messing with it to like make a nest or something. It probably made a nest in the hotel room. So like, blah, blah, blah. Using its bill to like shape it into something.
Oh.
Disgusting.
The green slime, which kind of just solidifies into like a nest, you know. It's not old enough to spittle it correctly. If it was older, it could like jet it out, you know. Anyway, welcome to the world of the dire platypus. I'm going to keep using that to be just ridiculous. Anyway. So your car ride will begin, and as you kind of said, the first bit you're following a few like dirt roads, because very quickly from this establishment you go off of paved into like dirt roads away from the establishment, and the dirt roads last for a little while out to what look to be like a couple like probably farms or ranches at the edge of the wastes. You can definitely tell the transition is incredibly quickly from like the kind of dirt, few plants to this just area of kind of like, it's not necessarily flat, but relatively flat with a few hills, a few kind of like, it looks like a few mesas are out there, mostly just like dirt, dust, cracked ground, you know, just, and the heat becomes heavy. Like, he's not using any air conditioning. He has a couple of fans on in that thing, and it looks like he has like part of like the a vent system, like, you know, so like air can like flow through the place, and then just fans on. So it is hot in the vehicles too. Even if you're
Marcel
using,
doesn't care as much about the heat, although she might wish she had a humidifier.
it is dry air. It is at least 120 outside, so it's probably a little worse in the vehicles, like, because they kind of bake under it. It is just an unbearable heat out there, and just death. Definitely.
Nice.
For everyone else, at least it's a dry heat. For Marcel, not so much.
Doc is coping somewhat.
Yeah.
He's a northern boy.
Mm-hmm.
Not used to this.
I mean, she's alive. She doesn't appreciate it.
Marcel's a tropical
Go on.
girl. She's fine with the heat, but not with the dry.
Sort of on this car ride, Doc's just gonna like kind of keep looking at that wedding ring.
It's probably noticeable to Purcell when Purcell kind of bashes over it, definitely, I'd say. If Purcell wants to say something, it is up to Purcell.
Yeah.
But,
Sorry, you do. What does he do?
checks, he's got a wedding ring on. Doc's got a wedding ring. And is actually playing around with it, like, noticeably.
I mean, I guess if we're on a long car drive, might as well say, so... Were you married before?
A long time ago.
So was I, actually.
Really?
Yes. I even had 2 children.
Oh, that's nice. I assume, well...
They're long dead, no matter what.
Yeah. He died before, I got thrown here.
Mine did as well.
Sorry to hear.
Think.
So, the plants in this area look to either be these kind of scrub bushes, occasionally here and there, a kind of like these kind of scrub trees, or occasionally there's these incredibly tall, like, probably 100-foot trees that are akin to, like, maybe like something like a redwood, that are like out in the middle of nowhere, that just go straight up into these kind of like scrubby branches, and then just like, the entire thing though has this kind of like darkened, almost stone-like color to it. These like massive trees. And there's all kinds of scars on the outsides of them. They seem to be these like kind of landmarks that are occasionally across the area. You'll eventually though leave the dirt roads behind and head into like just dirt, kind of driving in between these plants, avoiding all kinds of things of boulders and things which probably are boulders. You can't tell. Because those...
I stay behind him and I don't
roll over any
over boulders.
spikepines. I mean, they're like porcupines, only with like retractable, horrible death spikes that come out when you like disturb them.
This is fine.
Yeah. And they're probably also marsupials because
It's a hospitable
fantasy also.
environment.
It is incredibly hospitable. I mean, when you're relatively only the size of like, you know, a boulder, you know, and something tries to eat you, you gotta have something to defend against it, and massive giant spikes are probably a good way to do it.
It's true.
I just came back at horrible death spikes. You're welcome. Like, it's between, you know, it's the porcupine pufferfish monster. It's more defensive. It's just impaling. You will see some creatures around now. There seems to be like a kind of herd of what appear to be like something that's a cross between like an axebeak and an emu. So like giant birds that are about like giraffe sized.
Good lord.
Yeah. That have very long necks that seem to be like, you know, grazing at some of the scrub trees. You know, looking for like the little greens of the scrub trees and stuff like that. Their herds are maybe like a dozen creatures together. So there's a couple of these that seem to be in this kind of like transition zone, which is sort of like a little bit still towards the edge of the wastes. But eventually, though, you'll kind of hit into this kind of large, what he called a stream bed, which can only be described as maybe like, would have been like an old riverbed for you. You kind of go down into it, and you can see like the ground is a lot more caked, a lot rockier. So it's like, it feels rougher on your tires. So it's not like kind of like same kind of sandy, dirty as before. But definitely like the terrain is a lot more inhospitable. There's definitely something like a sand worm monster. You definitely can feel like it is. Harder ground, has that sign of being like a riverbed. And a fairly deep one too. So you're down probably from the general area at least 20 feet down in this bottom of this riverbed, kind of like going. So it's probably a pretty deep river. And you'll start traveling along it. It's probably pretty safe travels. The only thing that kind of stands out about halfway through the day, a large shadow will pass over by, and basically what appears to be a rock, but bigger, will pass over. You know, like, you've heard stories of rocks that pick up, like, elephants and stuff, you know? No, this is much bigger, you know? This is, like, your colossal-sized, like, bird just passing over by. Giant, like, super eagle that'll kind of blot out the sun for a little bit and then disappear from sight, because, again, you're in a deep riverbed. It's wide, you know, maybe, like, 50 feet wide, like, 20, 30 feet deep, but it still cuts out some of your vision. That's for sure. You'll actually have to slow down at one point in time, as there seems to be a, like, group of, like, six-legged, strange ape creatures with elephant trunks that seem to be wandering along the riverbed, too. So it kind of has, like, these four back legs, and, like, kind of, like, it walks on all six, but then, like, the two kind of raise up as they kind of go into defensive, as they kind of seem like kind of hairy and shaped almost on their top, more gorilla-like, except they have these, like, long trunks. And they kind of, like, if you watch them kind of going along, they're kind of, like, almost, like, looking around in the riverbed. They'll kind of slow down and give their, like, family unit a little bit of a wide berth, and then keep on going. A few hours later, he actually will stop both your vehicles and kind of, like, open, like, the window and kind of put a hand out, kind of, like, dimensioning you that you're stopping.
Alright, stop.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna go to you, Mishka. Here. I need you to walk back to them, take them this. Getting into an area that could be a little dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt hippos.
Okay. She nods. It's just like she.
They should be hibernating. They usually do outside the raining.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they wake up and they're cranky. They're cranky fuckers.
Okay, I will.
Take them the radio and let them know. We should be fine. But keep an eye out. If you see any kind of strange lumps towards the surface of the riverbed, dirt hippo. That means they're awake. We gotta wait for it to either go back to sleep or stop its, what it's doing.
What do we do if they get angry?
Well, they're about twice the size of one of our vehicles, so probably get out of the riverbed, which is not necessarily easy at this point in time, the stream bed. There's a couple of offshoots I know about. We could try to outrun them. They're pretty fast when they want to be, those suckers. It'll probably burst out of the sand, though. As I said, most of the time they're hibernating. They wait for the occasional floods, and then use that to gather prey and stuff, catching a lot of carrion and stuff in the water, eating the plants that kind of grow up in that short period of time. Omnivores, those things are. Take advantage of everything they can.
Okay.
They wake up, means they've either directly eaten or they sense some kind of prey. We might not know about that prey they sense. Let's disturb their slumber.
Have to be very careful.
Yeah. Just take them the walkie-talkie. That way we'll be able to communicate and let them know about this next time.
On it. She heads over pretty quickly over
Let
to
them know it's short range. Only going to work about 200 feet.
Okay. She relays all of the information she was just given.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Got it. I'll stay close.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. She heads back over. While she looks around and she's like heading over. She's like kind of wary.
It is still awful out in the sun. You thought it was awful in the vehicle. The beating down of the sun in this area is just oppressive. There is like nothing in the sky except sun and heat. You know? There's not even a breeze right now. Like, you know, you had all that breeze and wind with the dust storms. Now, post-dust storm, it is just... And there might be a breeze outside of the stream bed, but the stream bed obviously cuts the wind away, too. Because it's like a winding stream bed you're on. So there's like... It is just extra just still air and heat and just oppression.
It sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Boy. Lovely.
Whoa,
Lovely
giant
time
hippo
down
monster.
here in the
No,
desert.
she's sharing. She chose to share information on the giant hippo monster. Lightning. She did.
No, Mishka just walked up and just like threw the walkie-talkie at us and walked away.
Absolutely not. I gave information.
Yeah.
Listen, if Misha's good at anything, it's relaying and holding information, okay?
Uh-huh.
Let her have this.
So apparently there are dirt hippos. They hibernate large portions of the year. Usually wake up during the few times that the river floods. Probably during the little bits of rain that occur in various portions of the desert. You're not sure how systematic the raining is. Then they feed a lot and go back to sleep. But occasionally they wake up to eat food, and they might be awake because it's the area that they start living in. Mostly come out at rain. Mostly.
Mostly.
You'll give them the walkie-talkie. You'll head back to the main vehicle. And they'll depart again. The rest of the day is, the only other thing that seems of probable danger is, you will kind of, like, slow up and kind of head to the one side of the riverbank. As you're seeing on the other side of the riverbank is, like, this large lizard that's just kind of hanging out there. And I mean, like, you know, probably, like, body would be at least 30 feet long, plus a tail, just kind of like with its arms kind of over the side of like the slightly steep like riverside, you know, kind of like the one arm and leg kind of like over off to the side of it, kind of like sitting in the sun, sunning itself a little bit, kind of slightly blending in with the riverside, but like just enough like with it hanging over you can notice it. Doesn't react to you at all.
A relative of yours?
Glare.
The first day will end where he will actually take you off an area that looks to be where a smaller kind of stream comes into the river, and you can use that to kind of get out of it, and he'll head off to the side to like what looks to be kind of outcropping of stones, kind of like in an area of like a mesa. So it looks like where the mesa is, like it's slowly but surely, like, you know, like stuff has been collapsing away over time. So the mesa is like a certain size, but you can tell like you're probably like maybe a couple hundred feet away from it. So maybe like these are the remains of like some stones that fell off of the mesa as it was kind of collapsing from wind and stuff over time, things like that, when it was much bigger. And you can see that there's like, he's actually going to take you to one of the outcroppings, and then he's going to kind of like park the vehicles kind of by these like rocks in amongst this little like kind of like niche in the rocks, and he'll kind of be like, we'll camp here for tonight. These rocks should give us relatively good cover against most of the things that would actually want to eat us. Larger things don't tend to want to step on rocks like this, you know, hurt your bottom of your feet. Should keep us safe. Ground here is a little harder. Shouldn't have to worry about the worms. And the rocks are kind of harder to maneuver around. So it's a pretty safe area here for most things. There are some things to look out for. Poisonous spiders, poisonous vipers. They like to live around here. We'll take a check of them. Fire usually keeps the spiders away, attracts the vipers. But we'll check the rocks for the vipers. We should relatively be safe. Definitely want to fire though, mostly. The smoke also keeps most of the mosquitoes away. And those things, you don't want them landing on you, the local mosquitoes. Tiny ones, they're okay. Big ones, those are the ones you have to worry about.
Well, if anyone gets poisoned, just wake me up.
2 rock outcroppings over, there's a small spring. We're going to want to go fill our waters at the spring before night falls. We didn't want to hang around the spring, though, because the spring attracts more creatures to drink at it, regardless of the rocks and stuff. Hence why we're parking now, before the sun goes down. So, he's going to get out of his vehicle 2 large canisters. This should be enough for all of us for water for the night. And for anything to refill for the day. I need some of you to go fill it up. As I said, it's that rock cropping over there, about half a mile away. You're gonna have to walk there, fill your water, and come back. It's pretty open terrain. As I said, this area not as great for worms. If you feel the ground vibrating, just stop until it passes. Worms sometimes pass through this area. They don't tend to hunt. They tend to wait for problems.
Any problems with magic?
Should be fine if you're using spellcasting and such. Oh, you mean
Very well. Hand me the canisters.
Oh, you're creating some water from magical water.
Yep.
Usually I don't like relying on that, because there's some things that, well, eat magic. I can create water too. I don't tend to use it unless I'm in an emergency situation.
Very well.
If you can.
I guess I can go and collect the water then.
The things with the trunks we saw, those things looked pretty harmless. Eating the riverbeds. You know what they also do? Eat magic.
Very well.
They're not the only things. You remember, the big things eat magic. There's a lot of smaller things. The ecosystem here, not great. A lot of things have adapted to a large amount of magical energy in this place. I don't know if you've all felt it already, but it's already here. This place is just oozing it out. In game terms, all of you already feel like you would have a bonus spell slot today of magical energy.
Oh, fun.
Oh, shit.
Uh-huh. Just from the ambient magical energy.
Of what version? Of what spell slot level?
Lowest you could use.
Okay, 1. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that might come in handy later. Yeah, I guess I'll just head over and I'll be the one to grab the water and come back.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna do it on your own, or are you gonna have someone come with you?
Someone wants to come with me.
Misha will go help. They're not necessary. She's not necessarily the strongest, but she'll help.
Okay. You can see that there's like a little.
Actually, who was the one who was strongest? Was it Jess's character who was the strongest?
I think
among
it
us?
is.
Now
I
she
think
is.
it is.
Thursday is currently the strongest, I think.
I'd probably bring Thursday along then.
Buff
Yeah.
Thursday like comes out going, "Urgh!
Flex
Ah,
is-
flex. Oh, look at these really great muscles I got now.
Oh no.
Was that
Oh,
worse
boy.
than the Scottish or better?
I don't know.
Eh, same.
Still accustomed to the Scottish accent.
Ah, look at these muscles.
There
They're
we go.
so wonderful. Ah, I'm so sexy now.
It's just like Jess is here.
Okay, so she'll head over with you. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about with this heat. It's just divine. Ah, I feel like I could wade in the fire.
It's not terrible, but it is rather dry.
Oh yeah, I could wade in the fire. These guns good.
So we
All
go
right.
do that.
My God.
Okay. As you approach, you will see that there is a large person-sized scorpion seemingly drinking from the water.
Is like
There's
I
usually
mean,
like
I give it.
there's like a spring
Yeah,
coming out and like pooling. So it's like, you know,
Is it possible to get water while giving it a large berth, or is it a small?
relatively,
pond? Like
it's not huge pond. It's big enough you probably could give it a bit of a berth, but it's still within like the danger zone, so to say. It's still like, if it decided to do something, it could still, you know, but you'd be big enough that you maybe like notice if it got aggressive.
well, I'm going to give it a wide berth, but just be confident and not bother and just go up and get water.
Yeah, you'll just kind of dip the water into the spring and fill it up. So you get the big water jugs, you fill them up. It'll like notice you and like kind of like lift up its tail, like, you know, like right above it, so it's like in defensive stuff, and kind of click its claws.
I make no move towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Just continue water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It'll kind of like look like it's maybe going to do something, and all of a sudden, this huge beak will come down and grab it. Mm-hmm. As now standing on the rocks above you is a looks to be a smaller version of that big bird you saw. But this
So a
one,
normal-sized rock.
yeah, normal sized rock, but with like 4 wings instead of 2.
Well,
What do you want to do about
Continue.
that?
continue filling up the water. And
Uh-huh.
if it's not there,
Uh-huh.
but keep an eye out and
Uh-huh.
be ready to dodge.
Mhm. It's picking up like, looks like it's eating like bugs from the area, and then kind of like eyes up you as tiny lizard. Hmm.
You should probably be getting out of there soon.
Mhm. Wait, let me see what Therese did. Maybe Therese has something she can do. Probably not.
No, probably not. Throw another inside-out animal.
Urgh! 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 Flex at it.
I'm going to, you know what? Just to get it out of the way for now.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm going. Well, I mean, if it looks like it's gonna go after me, then I'm
You
going.
look delicious.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
tasty lizard food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna I'm gonna.
For a good reference, and also referencing old sci-fi movies, if you've ever seen the original Rodan, the one that, you know, the Japanese one, because it would be Japan, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, the original Rodan, where they see, like, the baby Rodan eating the bugs. That's kind of what's going on now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's, like, again, it's scaled down a little bit, because these are medium-sized things.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
Get out of here.
Yeah, go away.
Alright, I'm just gonna roll something here.
Oh my god.
Crack. It doesn't. Wow. It nothing happens to it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Odd.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh. Spooky.
It either rolled well, is intelligent,
Uh-huh.
or has magic resistance.
I think
Mhm.
Roselle's about to become a snack.
You know, I'm just gonna take what I got and start to walk away
Oh.
very slowly.
You win this battle, bird.
Yep.
Bird wins. Bird 1. Yourself 0.
Expected. Where are these stats here? Let me see. I'm gonna just check something that possibly Therzy could do. Oh, that's weird. So you know what? You know what? It's better that's flaming. Normally it's poison, but now it'll be flaming. She'll summon her flaming longsword and just be like, nope, 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 nope,
You
nope.
don't want any of this.
I don't know why it's poison. That's stupid. It's fire now. Fire sounds cooler.
I'm gonna cast that twice.
Uh-huh.
One for me, one for theirs.
Uh-huh. Sounds good.
I mean, that's an interesting thing as I was looking at this. It's like,
I mean,
uh,
she is immune to fire and poison now, but I'm just saying, like, the poison seems dumber. I'm just going for that one. Poison on all your weapons? That's
Yeah,
fire.
that
It's
seems-
cooler.
Yeah. Poison's like weird and underwhelming. Fire you can see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why does all her weapons do stupid Uranus 5e stats? Weird. Anyway.
I honestly, 5e give way too much stuff, poison resistance and poison damage and stuff. It's like, poison!
Like, why? Like, again, like, the Uranus's weapons, they do, like, extra poison damage. I'm like, okay, why? She's like, oh, cool! I didn't know I could do this! Ah! When the chips are down, Therzy brings out Fire Sword! Anyway, so yeah, she'll hold out Fire Sword, and she doesn't know if it does anything to this thing. But I guess, like, fiery insect doesn't seem as tasty as non-fiery insect, so it goes back to picking away at scorpions and snakes and lizards that are around the area trying to get water for a little while, before it flies off. In a weird, like,
Okay.
four-winged motion, you know, because it's got 4 wings, so, like, they'll, like, go in opposite, like, you know,
Well, it does fly off. I guess I'll go back and finish filling up the water jugs.
Okay. It did eat most of the things that would be dangerous around the area.
No, that was nice of it, and you tried to banish it. It was just helping.
I mean, it would have gone to another plane for a little while.
I mean, yeah, it just would have
And
gone for
it-
an hour, and then I would
It
have...
probably would have eaten you, too. You did look delicious.
It's true.
Oh no, it's only a minute. Yeah, it just would have gone for a minute, and I would have just, finished filling up my water jugs and ran off.
Yeah. In the meantime, Sandwurm and yourself, Mishka, will probably have cleaned out about half a dozen vipers. And we're not
Nice.
talking about, like, small snakes. We're talking about, like, you know, like king cobra-sized snakes, or, like, slightly larger, you know? It's like, oh, Jesus, these things are big.
Fun.
Nice.
And probably about, like, half a dozen dinner plate-sized spiders, which were all also poisonous, probably.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
He'll have used that he actually has, which you didn't notice before. He's got like a retractable kind of spring out like hand crossbow attached to his one arm.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of used to do that. It seems like he also has like probably you'll notice that he's probably got beyond the weapons you've seen, probably like half a dozen weapons hidden on him. Also, so
Nice.
he's like he is armed to the teeth. He'll also like have a couple throwing daggers he'll use to like one of them he'll use to throw and like impale a snake in its head, things like that.
Yeah.
But apparently, you will have some nice snake and spider meat for dinner.
Tasty.
Yum.
He will certainly be cooking up the snakes.
I mean, it'd be a waste not to.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the best eaten, but they usually do.
Yeah, this was...
I've had worse.
We've had much worse.
So we've done pretty good for today. But this is probably the safest day of our journey. Next one's going to be a little difficult. Now we still have to worry about the ground hippos. It's always a thing. But we're also going to have to worry about 2 of the titans.
Titans?
Titans. Big things that live around here. Now, we saw one of the titans ahead of time. That one usually doesn't come down. It's constantly flying around. Don't know what his deal is. A big bird.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for whatever reason, your chat on stream hasn't scrolled downwards.
I scrolled up to check something here.
Oh, okay. I just looked over and saw it was up, and I'm like, it doesn't look right.
Well, what's this other titan?
Cryorax. That's the one of the 2 we got to worry about. Cryorax, big reptilian thing. Breathes ice, freezes things. Cryorax tends to be relatively harmless to people like you and me. Danger is he just wanders around. And if he gets into a fight with something, we'd be kind of just there and perhaps in the way of it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very good.
So that's one of the 2 you'd have to worry about. The big bird, that's Brilus. You probably don't have to worry about Brilus. The other one we have to worry about is Tussin. Tussin's a little dangerous because he's a little different. Tussin's always been my rival. Tussin usually doesn't come this far over to the center. He's normally in the Sandwurm territory. But lately I've been seeing him expand his way out this way. Granted, he's not the only titan that might be wandering around this area. But those are the 2 that I think might do something to do something. Cryorax, well, he gets into fights with others. I'll spell these into chat here. Brilus and Tussin. Cryorax, Brilus, and Tussin. Cryorax likes to get into fight with others. He's one of the more dominant of the titans. Titans don't tend to kill each other. They tend to get into tussles, injure each other, wander off. Magical energy they absorb from this place makes sure that they're very hard to kill. I've only seen one minor titan killed one time, and that was, unfortunately, when one... I saw it on the news. See, they don't really leave the wasteland very often. Occasionally, one of them does for whatever reason. And, one of them wandered out and got itself killed. One of the smaller titans. Got killed by the military. They took care of it. That was about 50 years ago. And it took a large military venture of most of the Ocean military being called in. Took about a week to get together a response to it. By then it called untold devastation to the south. So that's why you know these things are dangerous and hard to kill. So Tussin, problem with that is it's a type of sandworm, or related to them at least. Titan version of it. You don't see it coming until it's too late. Granted, unlike the other sandworms, not really hunting other things. Feeds on magic like other titans do. It's one of the evolutions for them getting that big. Problem with it is it tends to be very territorial with other sandworms. We're going into an area where sometimes sandworms will come all the way up to the river. Fortunately, the sandworms tend to be in the most of the northern, western parts of the territory of the wastes. Eastern and southern tend to be a little clearer. Occasionally, you get smaller species, but not the large ones. It's not as big as the larger ones. That's why it's a little safer for traveling on vehicles and stuff. Usually. But we're coming into an area that sometimes they kind of show up on, still on the river. We're on the borderlands. So hopefully, we won't have to deal with Tussin. Bastard. I'd love to kill that thing. That'd be quite a trophy on my wall. Wouldn't fit on my wall, but on the side of a mountain.
Wow.
Don't know how you preserve that thing. Take a team of like 50 druids using preservation magic on it. Hell of a thing. But no, as much as that's my big rival of enemies, I wouldn't tussle with it right now. You gotta have a great plan for something like that. Tussle with Tussin is just crazy. And as I said, Cryorax, as long as he's not getting in a fight, if we see him, we should be fine. Should be. The path we're taking, there are a couple other titans that might be wandering on it. We'll worry about them a little later. Or if we encounter them, I can let you know about them. There's about 50 titans. Things that are classified as titans throughout the wastes. No one ever taught you. Give or take. Hard to say exactly. There might be who knows how more hibernating below the wastes. It's only in about the last 200 years that really a good survey of them have been made. As I said, only one's been truly killed. Obsijin government took that thing away quicker than you could say. Study it.
Well,
Not since
hopefully
the joint effort of all the world 200 years ago has anything as threatening as these things been around.
Well, hopefully we can avoid them and be done here as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Guess the studying it hope to find a way to, if it ever wakes up again, the destroyer. They can get rid of it permanently. I've heard the stories of that thing. Makes these titans look like a drop in the hat. Smaller than them. So they say. More vicious. And just kills. One of my ancestors served in the Obsijin military that was sent to fight that back in the day. That's why I got into being here. Always on the edge of the wastes. These things here are related to it somehow. I don't know. Great destroyer. Hopefully that thing will never wake up again. Prison they put it in this time. By all those ancient gods and spirits. Terror. Anyway. We should be relatively safe from the Titans, as I said. Collateral damage is the worst we have to worry about. If we see them fighting, keep a wide berth and figure something out.
Sounds like a plan.
Alright. The first evening will fall. The fire's nice. It definitely gets chilly here. Like, the cold shift is incredibly dramatic. Like, it gets down from, like, up in, like, the 120s, 130s, down to, like, the 50s, 40s. It is a insane between 80 to 90 degree temperature shift at night. Like most good deserts do.
Yeah.
Except to a more extreme. The fire helps keep the shift not as bad. You know, you keep the fire on, and he's got a pretty nice raging fire there. As you and your vehicles are kind of nestled in this kind of group of rocks. And you can hear strange howls and noises echoing throughout the wastes in distance of things that are dangerous, gigantic, large, deadly, who knows what. Noises that probably echo for tens of miles from wherever they are. Screams of creatures. We'll take our second break here as you rest for the night and continue your journey deep into the Ulatara wastes. I was gonna say Vara wastes because I keep wanting to make it a V. But so, snack, drink, bathroom break. If you need any of those, go ahead and do them. I'll be back in a little bit here. Alright, hey everybody, we're back for our last break. I'm going to end a little bit early today because, as I just told these people, it's my niece's birthday and I might have to do some things for it. So I want to end just a little early, so I'll start wrapping up around like 3:45-ish, 3:50-ish. It's a little early. Because normally we're ending like 55 right at 4 o'clock. So it's not going to be huge early, but a little bit. So, after a relatively peaceful night, with horrible noises in the background, you'll pack up your campsite, and prepare for the next leg of the journey, which will lead you back into the dried riverbed, kind of down the stream bed away from the mesa that you're kind of hanging out near. You'll have a pretty reasonable, you had a pretty good dinner of snake and spider, which was a little bit of roasted snake and like a boiled spider and local plant stew from some the little, because again this area is a little bit closer to a spring, so it's a little greener near the mesa too, because also probably it gets shade occasionally. I mean, that helps for some of these plants if losing water and all, I'm just saying. So a little local greenery in this area, as things are a little bit more lifey. And you had a kind of interesting kind of stew of spider. In the morning, it'll be another kind of stew. This will be much more like a vegetable stew he'll kind of put together using local things. Probably some other kind of local mushrooms and insects and stuff that you can get in this area near the mesa where life is a little bit better. It's edible. Probably not super great tasting. Probably tastes better than you expect every time. It also gets a lot of liquid into you too, which was the plan. Using up a lot of that water, we had to get a lot of liquid into people, just to hydrate a bunch. Then you will of course begin your journey again. The first few hours are uneventful, as the sun's coming up, the heat of the day is kind of forming. You didn't necessarily leave right at the crack of dawn. You did wait a little while, which his entire warning is again, there are some things that will be moving around at night, which are their own dangers, and trying to avoid them. The day dangers are easier to see at least and react to. The night dangers can be a little bit more difficult to react to. Hence why you don't.
And then there are the crepuscular dangers, which are probably kind of the worst.
Yep.
Because actually it's harder to see at dawn and dusk than even night and day.
So there's a lot of dangers that you want to avoid, and you're just sticking with the day-based ones. Again, a good chunk of the day will go by then. You won't necessarily have to worry about too much. Then, you'll come across something really strange. You'll actually come across massive, what look to be mounds of ice. And sticking out of one of them is a huge hippo monster, frozen.
Over the radio. What's this about?
I think a good friend Cryorax is in the area and got in a fight with something. Don't know if he's still battling. Hard to tell. He's Its frost breath can go for a few miles, as they say. Never really tested out how far it can go. Looks like our little friend here got hit with a slice. I can see what looks to be about half a dozen pillars down the center here. Its breath causes ice to grow in places. The lower levels of it probably froze away. These little pillars form places where it hits. They'll melt away eventually. Just a little extra water into the entire area. This thing, hella dead. Ground hippo. Looks like it was wandering around, got hit by it. You can see it looks like it's got like the big tusks of hippos, but then it's got like a set of like more sharper teeth behind that before it goes into molars. So you can see it's got that kind of like mixture of teeth that an omnivore has. That's got more like tearing. It's got the big tusks, tearing kind of teeth in the front, and like large processing molars in the back. Because it kind of got its mouth open as it's kind of like frozen in place, like a death scream of like trying to murder stuff. Definitely could like crush their car in its mouth kind of thing, because it's like a huge house-sized hippo.
Oh, nice. So what's the plan?
I don't want to delay more than we need to. Push on forward. We'll keep going. If we see more signs of a fight or see it in the distance, we might have to find a place to go off and hide. Just some place that we have got some protection in case of this.
Very well.
Nisha's gonna be actively looking around at the point. Just to make sure.
Okay.
Can at least be seen.
Alright, you'll continue kind of past the pillars and go on for a little while. Everything will seem alright for a bit before all of a sudden the ground will shake massively. As this kind of stream of blue energy will kind of fly over the stream bed, and then all of a sudden this creature will just come crushing down across the stream bed, dragging across it. This large kind of stone-looking crease. As you will see a Sandwurm go, "Holy fuck!"
What the hell was that?
On the radio now!
Yeah.
Stop moving, stop moving. We gotta react now. Obsijin is in battle with Cryorax. Didn't know that beast was in the area. This is bad news for us. Those two can get at it for weeks.
How do we proceed?
You'll see the thing, which is probably at least 300 feet tall, you would say, if not taller. This creature kind of get up, which it looks like a monkey made of stone, and then it's kind of like gonna hit its fists together, and between like its joints of the stone, fire will start pouring out, and drips of lava will come down. As it's gonna kind of like screech this roar, which like echoes, and then bound off, I don't have good epic battle music. I really should switch to that. Let me see if I've got one. No, I don't have one. Super chill background.
Yep.
Let's actually switch out. Let's try that one. Give me a second here. How's that one? Jungle music. Is that better? Let me know if that's better, Lightning. Jungle music. It'll kind of go pounding off. You can see, like, relatively speaking, like, there's a little bit of damage to the riverbed, but again, like, it's, like, a big thing in, like, a contour of the land, which it's just, like, ignoring pretty much. As it's gonna kind of go stomping off. As you can still see, like, there's drips of that, like, lava which came down, which have pooled. Is it the exact same music I have for both of them? That I did by accident? I I thought I had different sound. Druid's card. Oh, I might have the same for both.
Oh no.
Oh, I do! I didn't realize I had the same for Chult and Os. Well, we'll just go back to the Os music then. That's the one I have. Super chill. Actually, wait. There we go. How about that one? Boop. That would be slightly better. More atmospheric.
So it's a giant lava monkey and a frost worm?
Frost lizard monster.
Lizard.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, this movie's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's not an ape, it's a monkey. It has a tail, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. You'll begin to get a sight of the battle that's going on about these titans. So the monkey creature, the stone monkey creature that uses fire, is probably about 300 feet tall, and it's fighting against something that's probably at least 400 feet tall. Like a large kind of like bipedal reptilian thing. As I said, the monkey seems like it's not only is it like pouring fire from it all times, you'll notice that like its tail will kind of come up and like it'll arc off sparks of lightning from its tail and kind of brush across the creature and land.
That movie.
Yes,
Okay.
I know what the reference was. The ice lizard will have like an armored back, almost kind of like a turtle back, what looks to be ice like crystals that are kind of covering it. It doesn't have a tail. It has like these like kind of large, kind of muscular arms with what looks to be like huge claws and kind of like spikes on the edge of its like elbows. It's kind of got like this kind of weird mouth when it opens up. It's like this, but it also has these like kind of like fangs on its side too that kind of opens up, and it keeps belching out these beams of like white energy that if you watch it, it just creates like ice wherever it hits. As the two of these things are just battling it out, laying into each other, like opposite elements kind of battling it out, and like you'll see like when their energy kind of sparks into each other, like when the one pounds it with like the fire and lava fists, because like it like has the electrical tail, and also like you'll see like it'll like wipe its arms and create these balls of lava and chuck them at it, you know, like it'll go and just chuck it at the lizard thing, you know.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's actual lava, which like you can see there's like where it was in front of you, there are like pools of lava left over from it that are actually pretty decently sized because it's like a 300-foot lava rock a monkey. The battle is definitely fierce, and you have no idea how long it's going to go. You can kind of you'll be led by Sandwurm out of the riverbed and kind of heading away from them, kind of like because it seems like they're sort of more on the direction you want to go on right now. So he's gonna kind of lead you away. As you can see, like the landscape is currently covered in like those ice pillars, but also like there's random pools of lava all over the place too that are still kind of burning. As it looks like this battle has been going on for a little while now. Not sure how long. A few more blasts of ice will actually create like this row of ice pillars in front of you. As he's actually trying to like dodge between things, that you'll have to he actually does a quick reaction to like swing in between a couple of them and actually knock into like a smaller pillar that was created in the middle and like kind of break it as like ice and like water kind of shatters over his like armored vehicle, leaving a space open for the rest of you. And he'll kind of lead you to this area where there's another mesa nearby, where unfortunately this one seems to be like a bit older and a bit like smaller, a lot less of those rock outcroppings near it. And he'll kind of just actually drive you up to the side of the thing and kind of like park his vehicle kind of almost getting into the side of the mesa. He's going to grab a bunch of stuff from his vehicles and he's going to get out. And he's going to say, and he's going to kind of like, you know, kind of like just pack up like a backpack full of stuff. And he's going to be like, up in the mesa right now. There's a couple of caves up here. Get into the cliff face. We should be safe in there. Can't guarantee the safety of the vehicles. We have to get out of the way until they either move out of the way, or we figure out a way to sneak by those bastards.
Okay, Docs is gonna grab some stuff and follow.
Okay.
Check the vehicles.
I mean, you have massive, like, super breath weapons that are going off. You know, there's line of cold, and, like, electrical arcs, and, you know, lightning. And it looks as though the weather is changing in the area. Like, storms are forming. Probably because of massive amount of water that's being generated and the mixture of hot and cold. Yeah. And a large amount of lightning, kind of electrical energy in the air. So yeah, the two of them are seemingly forming, like, you know, a thunderstorm above them.
Ooh,
also,
shit.
through their battle. Using all this elemental energy and battling it out. Damn.
We should probably get somewhere safe.
He'll head up, kind of like climbing the mesa, like kind of like the bottom slope of it, up into like these mid-level, where he'll actually like throw a grappling hook up to something, and then kind of climb up to what appears to be like a cave kind of in the side a little bit. It still kind of has a view of the battle, but it's also like a little bit to the side, so no attack would hit directly. That doesn't mean you couldn't like freeze the entrance, but he's just gonna kind of like head in there and head back in there.
I will follow.
I will as well.
He's gonna unsling his gun, and he's gonna kind of like put his hand up as people are following and be like, "Should be no rock grub nest. Doesn't mean there might not be some around."
I'll ready my weapon and hold out one of my hands just in case.
Pistol and shield.
He'll have his rifle in the one hand, like a light kind of like holding in the other hand. He'll kind of lead you back to what looks to be like a chamber in the back that's kind of been like carved out, and there seems to be like what looks to be the remains of like some kind of cocoon and some like moltings in the area, and he'll kind of like take a look around quietly and be like, "Good, it's an old one. Should be safe." Damn. If we're lucky, they ain't gonna fight much longer. But we're gonna have to worry about it too. We're on the wrong side of the river for the stream for where you're heading. And that storm that they're creating is gonna create quite a river flash flood. So either we're gonna have to figure out a way to ford it, or wait till everything passes. Which unfortunately, in this area, could be a while. I don't know if you want to press your time and hang out here in a cave with me. I sure shit don't.
Well. Yeah. I mean, if the river's still flooded tomorrow, I could prepare control water.
Might help.
Could use that to ford the river.
If you're powerful enough to do that, then that should get us across, hopefully. Thing is, we have to wait and see when their battle's done. Because that storm might end until the two of them stop their elemental powers.
Very well.
You forget the two of them feed on the natural magic on this area, and are much better at draining it than the lot of us are. We can take a little touch of it. Those are tapping into it directly. So they have a pretty unlimited supply of energy. The amount of elements that will be flashing up this place is great. I see a lot of fire, ice, electrical. Storms are going to be bad. Rainstorms in this area oftentimes are. Just as he says that, you can hear like more like you like the energy. That was weird. Oh, and I lost OBS there.
Yeah, you're offline. No, you're back.
Oh, I think it was an internet issue.
It may have been an internet issue.
Yeah, because I was checking my like task manager and like nothing was like hitting that bad. So I think it was an internet issue. I had an internet blink.
Oof.
What did I end up on?
Spags.
Some spags will help there.
Yeah.
Also, and very important, also will help there is...
Yeah, that was weird because we could hear you just fine, which means Discord was doing fine, but...
I don't think my internet completely went out, so you could still hear me when I was talking there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was weird then. Because OBS had a blink too there for a second, so I don't know how it's going to affect the stream VOD and stuff like that. I'll have to take a look. Okay, so I was talking about the storm still.
Yeah, it might come up as a separate thing, but
it might have a little blink. I think I was saying that like how thunder and lightning was starting, the storms were starting, you know, rain was coming. So now rain is pounding down on these two creatures as they're battling out, and kind of like a storm is kind of settling in. Your guys' plan is to wait until the battle is over and then try to ford the river using magic. Is that your kind of plan you're going to go for?
Yeah, that's probably the best plan, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
Okay.
we're gonna go out in the middle of it.
Okay. So
yeah, I mean, just wait and then try and fjord.
Yeah. So you kind of settled in. Do any of you want to watch?
And hope
the
we don't
fight?
get dysentery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any of you want to watch the battle? You certainly could go out to like the cave entrance and watch what's going on between these two creatures.
Sure. Just not very close to the
Well,
entrance.
Just reading
Mhm.
something fun that I might have to use
Just enough
eventually.
that I can see outside, but not
Okay.
enough that's like gonna affect.
Okay. So you'll see a couple of interesting things. The ice lizard with the kind of weird turtle back will kind of like at one point in time begin shaking his kind of like the kind of shelled armored back as he's like almost like little ice crystals will come out, and there's kind of like puff will come out from it going out in like who knows how far in all directions, as will just kind of like almost like freeze everything around it. For a second, like the fire monkey will kind of like look like it's like slowing down as affected by the ice, but then it'll see like it'll kind of like its stone skin will begin to kind of glow red as it'll kind of burn out of that. As you can see, like around it, the ground is just kind of like beginning to melt as it begins. You can actually see like in the rain the steam coming off of it and like the heat increasing as they kind of like go in for these like massive hits on each other. As you can see, they're visibly injured at each other's attacks and taking damage. The battle will last for a couple more hours, and I mean like hours of knockdown, drag out, where they're wielding incredible amounts of elemental energy against each other. Before both of them will actually kind of like stop up at a moment and like look up at the sky, as you will notice within the clouds the shadow of that massive bird that was kind of floating around.
Oh my gosh, a bird.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm watching too. I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
watching and looking at specifically
Uh,
the Frosty boys.
Yeah. The shadow of Brilus, the bird that you had heard about, seems to be in the clouds then, as more lightning bolts kind of like rain down. After that, the two of them kind of like look at each other, and you can tell there's some kind of like recognition that they'll kind of look at the bird, and both of them will kind of like bark out like warnings or like threats to that, but then they'll kind of go their separate ways. The Titan monkey will seemingly head west, northwest, towards the mountain range. Cryorax...
Did you just take from both Godzilla versus King Kong and Pokemon?
I don't know about the Pokemon one. If there's a Pokemon reference in there, I don't remember that.
I thought this was Kyogre Groudon fighting, and
Rayquaza
comes to break them up.
Rayquaza comes down and tells the children to shut the fuck up. He's trying to speak.
See, I didn't play that Pokemon.
Oh, interesting.
I've heard of that, but I wouldn't remember that because I've never seen it. I've heard of that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just like...
Yes. So that might be an inadvertent Pokemon weapons, which I will take. The amount of
birds have once again won 2 times this session.
Of course, the storm will rage on for a while, and Cryorax actually will kind of hang around the area, and what you'll see is it kind of will curl up on itself, and kind of you'll see its shell kind of like push down onto the ground, as like it's like just a mound of like ice crystals right now, in the center of what looks to be a frosty area. But it's not moving right now. The monkey will leave, and the bird you'll lose its sight in its clouds, because there's like probably like a massive storm that's formed over the two of them after like the amount of water and heat and all that shit just created like, you know, huge clouds very rapidly. So it was a pretty like epic fight, and the rain will just kind of pour down with thunder and lightning, and it'll just be elemental fun that will go on. And of course the rest of the day a lot of you will, because that lasted like it was around noon you got interrupted by the battle, we'll say, or like early afternoon. It's getting towards night now, so a lot of you will kind of settle in here. It looks like fortunately you were far enough away that no major damage was done to any of your vehicles. Fortunately. Doesn't mean you won't have to worry about now like fresh like lava remains or tiny ice pillars that have only partially melted away. Or sort of melted away as their magical energy slowly fades. But I think we can leave it here at the end of day 2, being interrupted by a kaiju fight.
Yeah.
And you're a few days away from your final destination. Hopefully you'll be able to get there and make a deal with some devils. We'll do that. Worry about that next time. We might get a jest that'll be like, what's been going on? I missed a kaiju battle. Aw. With stone monkey and lizard turtle of ice. And Stormbird. Yep. Anyway.
To be fair, I could think of like 5 different things this mimics. It's actually a pretty common trope.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking of making my own sort of like lizard thing that would be maybe like Cryorax is probably akin to a little bit of Godzilla, but I also took a little inspiration from Pathfinder's version of Godzilla, because it's got its own too. I can't remember what the hell it's called, because it's got their own kaiju stats in Pathfinder, and I was using that kind of idea for it. And the stone monkey, I was just coming up with I don't want to just I want to do something fiery, but I also want to fight it. But what do? Let's go monkey, because it's kind of like a little King Kong versus Godzilla, but monkey's a little different because they move very differently, you know? So I see like the monkey like down on all fours, like, you know, like kind of like popping up to throw things, and maybe like kind of leaping and trying to grab onto it too. It's a much different fight. And it was also kind of small, a little smaller than it too. So that's why, you know, I thought interesting dynamic. Anyway, let's give our shout-outs for people, where to find them, etc., 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 as we head on off today. As I said, it's my niece's birthday. I'm going to go see if I can do something to help out with that, pick up food, etc. The normal we've been doing. Let's go and have people do counterclockwise, because that's easy, because Jess is missing. We'll go with Jinx to give a shout-out. Jinx. Shh. Psst.
Muted.
You're muted.
Yep.
Hmm. So,
Outros.
sorry, I missed it.
You were distracted. You were shiny.
Yes. My outro.
Yes.
Brain is super slow. Jinx Jams on Twitch and Twitter. Probably streaming later. I don't know what though. Yeah.
Cool. Simple, to the point. Great.
Yeah.
Worm.
I'm Diamond Worm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWorm or @DiamondWorm on Twitter. WIRM. I will stream sometime this week. I know I said that last week and I didn't, but this week I will.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Momo.
Momo Shu on Twitch, @Ishu on Twitter. I streamed yesterday. I might stream either tonight or tomorrow. I've been doing Castlevania.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. As for myself, Dracovin, I stream most days. If you're looking for RPG shows, there's of course this one at every 1 p.m. EST, which you don't get as many giant elemental kaiju battles in a D&D world. So hey, I'm one that gives it to you. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., also EST, all of them are EST times, will be Legacies of Kain, a Vampire the Masquerade game, in which Worm will be rejoining me as one of the players on that one, and maybe Jess, who was missing today because she wasn't feeling great, will hopefully be joining. Hopefully she's feeling better, we'll find out, along with a couple other players. There will also be on Thursday at 8 p.m. in the evening, Children of Wrath. That's a D&D meets Magic the Gathering adventure where they've arrived at Wizard School yet again. I'm sorry, Wizard College. It's not school, Wizard College. It's different than school. So they're going back to Wizard College. Again. They're getting their doctorates in wizarding. Probably. If you're looking for more... Yeah, I know. Gotta get that degree. If you're looking for more just video gaming stuff, I'll probably be doing it various times throughout the week. I've been doing a lot of Stardew Valley because I really enjoy that one. I will probably get back to some of my other games this week. I am going to try to get back to a little bit of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines and a little bit more of Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I will do at least those 2 streams before doing a lot more Stardew. I will promise that much at most. So I'll at least do some of each of those. And then a lot more Stardew. I can't lie about that one. I'm enjoying that too much. So
It's addicting.
It fills both my need to be obsessive compulsive about a lot of this stuff of like collectathoning of like I must get everybody to perfect liking and collect all the junk, and also it's kind of that relaxing of like, oh, I'm doing farm work. That's relaxing.
Must date entire town.
I've technically seduced all the women and one of the men so far, and now I'm dating 2 more of the men.
Oh,
So
nice.
I've seduced a lot of the town. I am the
Bard strats.
I am Bard Stratzing the entire town. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm definitely Bard Stratzing the town.
Amazing.
Anyway, so again, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you stay sane, healthy, and safe in this crazy, unhealthy time period. Hopefully you can join us again next week when we continue more of this, or check out some of my other shows throughout the week. And, until that next time, farewell everyone. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.